YouTube, welcome back to the channel. It's the Real Nathan Daily, and shout out to all the new subscribers. Welcome to the channel. Please make yourself at home. And listen, a lot of you guys have come here because of my analysis and the breakdown on the Luigi case out of New York. Today we're doing something different, but for those who are new, you guys, listen, I like to touch on a lot of current event topics. So this is probably the first one you may have seen from the channel. And listen, someone sent me a message, said, hey, can you please speak on the drones? You guys, I wasn't going to talk about the drones, all right, because I have my opinions. But recently I decided to do it as of today because of what the government is saying. There's some talks of, nuclear this and, all this type of little conspiracy. So I just want to give you my thoughts on it. You guys, listen, I don't consider myself to be a conspiracy theorist, but I do consider myself to be a conspiracy realist. Okay, there's a difference. Let's talk about the drones. Okay, but first and foremost, let me just say this. Okay, for anyone who's unsure about the country that we live in, let me be 100% clear. Okay, we the people no longer have control over our government. Okay, let's just I need you to accept that. Okay, we don't have control over this government. The government no longer serves us. Okay, they just don't. And to be quite honest, our forefathers probably would have kicked off at least 4 or 5 revolutions by now. We missed some opportunities where we need to put our government in check. All right, so at this point, essentially our government has sold us out to the highest bidder. It's borderline treason, the things that have been taking place in this country. With that being said, our government, unfortunately, the vast majority of those in leadership in high places are being controlled by those that have not been put in high places. Greed, corruption is like a cancer in this country, and it's malignant through all levels of government. You have good actors, and they're being overshadowed by the bad ones, right? And those who try to come out and say things and do things automatically end up committing suicide. Okay, we see this all too often. We just had a AI researcher, tech guy who was whistleblowing, and he just literally whistleblowed himself to death. Okay, that's a repeat thing here. I'm not going to dive too deep into some of the things because my channel is already shadow banned. So therefore, I'm not trying to make it any more harder on myself. But for the sake of the conversation, let's just talk about the reality of these drones. You guys, the drones are real. Okay. 2 things. Okay. There's 2 things that are going on. If you haven't been paying attention, again, it's not something I really want to speak on, but let me give you what's the reality. The reality is there are 2 things that are in the air. Okay. One's man-made and the other is not. Okay. Also, I need you to remind yourself that anything that the government tells us, there's a 99% chance that it's false, that it's a red herring. There was a guy who came out, he was the first guy to leak this, and now this is the thing that's actually trending, is that they're sniffing for nuclear waste, or maybe a nuclear warhead that was supposed to be in transit has somehow disappeared. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, there's no way the government would have provided us that information. That's a lie. I could tell you unequivocally that's a lie, okay? 2 things why the government would say that. Okay, before I even get to that, let's just start with this, all right? They're not going to be transparent, okay? They're just not. Not within this administration, they're not going to do it. Why do I say that? They only tell us what they want us to know in order to formulate a particular agenda that they have maybe 5 steps later. Okay, what do I mean by that? For example, perfect example, okay? They create problems that they blame others are responsible for, and then they give us a solution to said problem that they created, right? Which is a part of their agenda, just the whole part of their agenda. This is what they do. But then the solution that they give us, we think that it's in our best interest. And in fact, it's actually not in our best interest. We find ourselves relinquishing more power under the guise of them doing something in the betterment of the people. See, our government, master manipulators, okay? They are masters in psychological warfare. Okay, what you see now with these drones is what they would call a psyop. Okay, what you saw January 6th, that was a psyop. Okay, what you saw 9/11, that was a psyop. Now, what I mean by psyop, let me be clear. Okay, let me say this: it's not uncommon for the government to actually cause harm to its own people in order to further its own agenda. Okay, with 9/11, they were able to create the Patriot Act. Okay, and we ate it up. All right. In exchange for that, we want more safety, more security. We relinquish more power, okay? More of our own sovereignty. We let it go. And that it's been a slow process. To be honest, someone said to me one day, and they're like, oh, we're in the United States, this land of the free and blah, blah, blah. We're not free, you guys. All right. Perception of freedom is not freedom. Freedom is freedom. Okay. Someone telling you you're free, if they have to tell you that you have freedom, you don't have freedom. Okay. That's the Jedi mind trick. Okay. These are word wizards. Again, this is what I'm telling you. All right. And I need you to just focus and just hear me out. Okay. Because I can't be too plain. So I need you to follow me on this. If someone tells you that you have these freedoms, you don't have freedom, you guys. Okay, that's the reality of it. I'm probably gonna get in trouble. The drones, okay? When I first heard about the drones, at first, it seems like it was just some stuff. And then people were recording hundreds of drones, different size drones. People are confused whether or not, these are UFOs, if this is alien technology, the drones are moving in particular ways. The first thing that stood out to me was the fact that they all had these lights, right? These specific, the red, the green, the blue. These are all lights that are standard, right? That you got to have on aircrafts or drones, right? So again, the first thing I thought of, these were commercialized, right? Obviously, people realized that these weren't hobby drones, right? Their behaviors and things like that are slightly different. The next thing I thought, okay, well, it's definitely the military. Well, the military is not going to say anything, right? The military says it's not a big deal. When they make comments about it, they're flying over. People have seen it flying over military installations and things like that. People have seen them coming out of the sea, right? People have seen them doing all type of weird things, different sizes. People have recorded these things spraying stuff, okay? But let me just say this, though. There are drones of different sizes that the military has created, that they're ready to put into commercial use, right? To deliver goods, to deliver food and things like that. That's the new trend that they're going to start initiating. So the first thing I thought of when I first heard it was okay, these are military exercises, and they're not telling the people, which is stupid. They should probably just tell the people that they're conducting some type of military surveillance exercise of what they're going to implement in the future, right? They're slowly doing these things. And I said, well, this is weird. And then it just kept getting stranger and stranger and stranger. And then I started seeing people record different types of objects in the sky. Objects that look like stars, but a lot closer and are moving around. And I said, okay, well, those look like maybe entities, right? Like, you guys, I'm so you can have a background. I am a Christian, right? I'm a Christian, but I'm also very strongly spiritually inclined. Okay, so I'm meaning that I'm aware that we are going into an age of the returning, okay, which I like to call the big man, the Christ man, God man returning, and things are going to start looking crazy, right? I'm talking Revelation's crazy. All right, I believe in that, and I've seen a lot of things that would acknowledge that to be true. And that's not to offend anybody's religion, bless your heart, okay? But I'm just telling you my perspective. So from my understanding, what's taking place, we're leaning towards an era where Project Bluebeam, for those who are not familiar, please do your research, where there's going to be a purposeful deception taking place, and it's going to try to cause a sense of confusion. There are people who are going to be coming and showing themselves to us. They're going to be not of this world, right? And it's going to be a fraudulent display of godliness, okay? And so I think that everything, the stage is just being set, you guys. And I know I'm speaking around, but I'm just want to give you kind of like a brief, because someone asked, when we talk about the drones, all right? The technology that these drones can do is beyond what you would think. And I've seen actually some amazing drone displays provided by China. Okay, I've seen them do some amazing drone fireworks display. Their fireworks and drone collaboration is next level. They were creating some things that remind me of the Spider-Man movie. I think it was No Way Home or Home Go Home, Spider-Man, one of those, where Great Mysterio came in as what? As a savior, right? He was saving the day. But he was actually manufacturing the destruction. He was manufacturing the threats. He was manufacturing these monsters. And then he donned himself as the savior, the one who could actually fix it. So he showed up on the scene. He was glorified, but he had these gifts. He had these powers. And, his name is Great Mysterio, and he saved the day. But then Spider-Man found out after Spider-Man, he started to idolize him. Great Mysterio became this icon. Everybody was idolizing. He's the hero. We don't know where he came from, but he came down from the heavens with these powers. And he's stopping all of these great calamities, giant smoke monsters, rushing water, all these beings start to create, all these this chaotic stuff started taking place, earthquakes, and he's stopping, he's saving lives. People start worshiping him and idolizing him. Spider-Man, even as a hero, started idolizing him until he found out that he was a what? He was a fraud. And that the mystery behind all of those things that were taking place that they thought were, monsters and miracles and magic or whatever, they were actually what, you guys? You remember? They were drones. They were drones. And the drones were used to create this fantasy of power, of strength, some of your deepest, darkest nightmares, things that you couldn't even fathom. Those drones were used to create that false reality. Made him look like a god when he wasn't. When he got exposed, you started seeing everything behind the scene. The drones of today can do something similar to that. And I wonder if our military grade drones can do something similar to that. I know the Chinese drones can, and I'm gonna show you examples of that. The technology that we have within our government it's ridiculous what they can do, how they can move, maneuver. There is what they call like a mothership. There is areas where they can launch from, and they use AI to actually control their patterns and do everything. There's so much they can do. But something as beautiful as creating magnificent sculptures in the air and designs and things that look like portals and dragons and things like that. You can also use those things and weaponize them. You can use drones to deliver payloads. You can use them to spray things. You can use them to fire weapons. You can use them to drop, you can use them to target specific people. You can use them to scan people's face. There's a show that I really enjoyed called Colony, if you guys are familiar with that, if you haven't seen it, where the aliens came down and they were using drones to basically manage people, right? And when I started seeing all these drones kind of flying around in different cities, a lot of them are blue cities, blue states, all right? They all start off with blue states. Let me just say that, because ain't none flying over here in Georgia, I'll tell you what, because we'd shoot them down, all right? Georgia, Texas, we shooting them down. I'd have to just take one for the team, and I'd take a couple down just out of curiosity to see what's really going on. But Colony shows that. It shows how the aliens were using drones to actually manage and herd the people, keep them in line almost like a shepherd's dog. Okay, the drones acted like a shepherd's dog. They scanned you. Guess what? They have all the facial recognition. We got the 5G towers up and running. Listen, the takeover is always subtle. It's always subtle. It's little by little. They plant certain things little by little, and guess what? It's always guised as something to help us. All the cameras now they put up in the cities. I've seen it here in Atlanta and in all throughout Georgia, and a lot of our big cities. The government was giving the cities funding to put up all these cameras in every corner, and we're like, oh, this is good. This is for our safety. We can solve crimes and do that. No, you guys, they have been facilitating our own chains, okay? Facilitating our own chains. We have been participating and putting in the same things that we're going to be complaining about in this distant future. They're going to have everything already established. And it's done very subtly. And it's exchange that we think that we're giving up our privacy in exchange that what we believe is to be our safety. I started realizing this thing was a problem one day when I was working a case of a carjacking in a neighborhood. And one of the investigators was like, oh, cool, no problem. Let's see if we can get one of these Ring cameras. And I was like, yeah, let's get one of the Ring cameras and see if we can pull the video off the Ring camera. So I'm going door to door talking to people, and I get to one lady and she had the Ring camera up, and I say, hey, on this date and time somebody was carjacked in the neighborhood. Oh my God, I can't believe it. I said, do you mind if I use the video on this date? If you have it, can you send it to me? And she was like, yeah, no problem. So I take the video, whatever, and I go back to the office. And one of the investigators was like, oh man, I got a better way. We can just get access to all the cameras on the street. You guys, we were able to, with the proper paperwork, but we're able to get access to every single camera, every Ring camera, you guys. All right. And I can share this because all this stuff is public knowledge now, right? But I was so blown away. You guys got to remember, like, with me as an officer, yeah, I've been policing for a long time, but technology has been evolving as I've been doing this job. So as I'm seeing things for the first time, I'm like, damn, the feds have stuff. The feds had stuff back when I first started that blew my mind, okay? Technology that I wouldn't even talk about on here, but things that I didn't even know was a thing, okay? We had devices, well, let me not say that. But there are things that I didn't know were a thing, but so I can only imagine what we have now, okay? So we could see the car literally sequence by sequence just driving down the street because we're pulling. And I look and I didn't realize it, but I step outside and I looked around. I'm like, every damn door has a camera on it. And what I mean by that being a problem is that it's there for good, but it could be used for bad. And that is the issue. So I know I'm ranting, but just follow me, right? Just follow me. I'm just kind of just emptying my thoughts as it relates to this subject. And I know I said a lot, but the government here would never allow drones to just be from the enemy to be just flying across the country, okay? They just wouldn't allow it. If we were truly under attack or something was wrong, you guys, the military would step in unless they themselves were the ones implementing said attack. I wouldn't put it past. I would not put it past our country. So now there's speculation that they're looking for some type of maybe missing nuclear warhead or something like that. Let me not say warhead, I don't really know. But some nuclear object they're saying has gone missing. I think they would never tell us that. Or they would have told us that from the beginning, right? The first guy who leaked it, he worked for the federal government, and he made that statement. I don't believe he made that statement on his own free will. I think someone told him to say that to kind of get this narrative out into the media in order to shield them from what they're really doing in the air. Okay, and I'm gonna give you my thoughts, my theories on that. The government you're not gonna have secret clearance and working for the Department of Justice, working for the DOD, and you're a contractor, and you come out here and you spill partial secrets. Like, I heard from somebody that they're searching for, the drones are out there sniffing for nuclear activity at night. They're searching at night for it. Like, come on, right? And again, people are buying it. people are nervous, people are scared. It's causing a lot of discomfort. It's causing a lot of distraction. There's a lot of distractions going on in the media right now. A lot, you guys, from celebrities. I talked about it before. From the celebrities to, of course, now we have the Luigi shooting. We have all kind of stuff going on. Why? Why? You guys, there are things in the air that do not belong to our military or anything else on this earthly plane. There have been things in the air recently that they don't want us to see. The question is, what do you think it is? What do you think it is? There are orbs glowing with they look luminescent, they're different colors, and they don't look of this world. And all of a sudden, when those things are starting to be outside, all of a sudden now we got all these drones out here to distract you from what? What are they really doing? I think those drones are up there trying to probably analyze those things that they probably don't understand, or they're trying to keep us from seeing them. And by doing that, they are sending hundreds of drones out to kind of distract us. That's my thought. Or let's just say that the nuclear thing is a real thing. Okay, then now what?